Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Devon gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? The Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Barely Watched Podcast, dealing with everything about your Chicago Bears. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker, and I have my good friend Lester in the building today. Lester, how are you feeling today?
Doing good, Devon. What's up? The host with the most. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as you know, we finally got our first glimpse of the Bears actual tackling and actually running the ball in their preseason game. They opened up the season for their preseason against Tennessee at home. Lester, you go ahead and start this conversation off. What did you think about yesterday's action?
Yeah, I think the game probably went about as perfectly as the Bears could have hoped. The first string offense was out there. They executed, some plays. They got two quick scores, and that was it. Get to the bench. Let's get the backups in. The defense, the defense played pretty good. There was some moments where they struggled a bit early, but it's preseason like always. And But I thought overall the defense settled down, and 8 sacks for the entire defense. I mean, that's ridiculous. The Bears last year had 16 from the whole D line.
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous, man. It's nice to see the Bears getting after the quarterback, and it was a nice game for the Bears to kind of build off here as they have the joint practices coming up with the Colts this week.
It was really nice seeing Lewis get back there twice on the evening as well. I look forward to that. That was awesome as well.
That was a really low-key signing last year. They brought him in. Of course, he was drafted by the Rams. I think he was a third-rounder. He played outside linebacker in their 3-4 scheme. That's what he was at Alabama. But he's an edge. I mean, he's a pass rusher. So maybe the Bears, signing him and saying, hey, you are now a straight-up defensive end, 3-point stance, hand in the dirt. We just want you to play, go after the quarterback, set the edge in a run. Don't worry about any pass coverage responsibilities. Maybe this is the best thing for Lewis's career, because besides what he did in the game, he's had a real nice training camp as well.
I've heard his name called a lot as well, too. Now, Lester, obviously we've been doing this for quite some time, so you know me. I like to make jokes and throw jabs. How are we handling all of the Justin Fields criticism? Because a lot of people are saying, those 2 passes he threw, the receivers did all of the work. Anyone could have done that. I could have suited up and done that. Justin Fields sucks. He's not ready. How do we address that, and how do we handle that, Lester? Because that's the talk of the town right now.
That is mostly some of the national media guys that are pretty much trolls. And it's also a lot of Packer fans that are kind of saying it. I mean, look, the whole offseason, it was, Justin Fields, he's not a quarterback. He can't execute an offense flawlessly. He can't take the easy pass when it's there. He can't, make plays to check downs. He did that. He took what the defense gave him. I mean, he had, like I said, 3 passes. He had the one in the flat to the fullback. He had the one to DJ Moore that went to the house. That was the pass was a little off, but that's, you expect your playmakers to make plays. He made a play and he made a touchdown, obviously 60-some yards. And then the touchdown to Khalil Herbert, he had to scramble out of pressure, made a play with his legs, found the right read there, and it was this is what you want out of your quarterback. I mean, if Justin Fields can play like this, just nice and easy, run through the offense, let things come to him, that's what you want. But now all of a sudden the narrative wants to change about Justin Fields. It's just there's just certain people out there, they're going to hate on Justin Fields no matter what until he has I can't even say until he has a great year, because there's going to be people that hate him no matter what he does, just because of the situation, because he's a Bear quarterback. That's just what happens.
Yes, sir. Of course. Outside of what you just noticed, how do you think the kid felt out there yesterday, having his new look offensive line, having his new receivers? What type of mental did you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields had a great camp. The coaches have talked him up quite a bit. The players have talked him up quite a bit. He's always been that alpha, and he's always had that, he's exuded that kind of confidence, but everyone's talking about it in a different light this year. He just understands the offense better. Of course, year 2 in the system, which is something he hasn't had since he was in college. So this is nice for him to have a chance to get settled in and get comfortable. And then, of course, man, DJ Moore on the field now. I mean, it's ridiculous. The Bears have a legit number 1 receiver. And you kind of saw, I mean, the first touch he had, he takes to the house. It's like, this is who the Bears wanted when they made the trade. They want a guy that has that kind of immediate thing where the defense has to take notice. Okay, where's DJ Moore? Every snap, they have to know where the guy is because he's the number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, everyone else falls into place. Chase Claypool, he'll be healthy eventually. He's had a great camp as well. He falls into place. Darnell Mooney falls into place. Your tight ends now fall into place. It helps the running game. It helps Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore just sets this offense off.
He's definitely sets them apart from last year because he's just going to create that space. And as you just noticed, you have Darnell Mooney and you have Chase Claypool, and a lot of things will open up underneath for those guys and whoever they have in the slot as well too. I expect to see a lot of the ball being spread around this offense this year.
Yep, that's exactly what it's all about.
Now, just take us what was going through your mind when DJ Moore did get that catch and you saw things start to open up and you saw his linemen out there out front throwing blocks and making sure he gets down the field. Because we haven't seen that in quite some time where the offensive linemen are out there making plays like that, Lester. It felt really good for me.
Well, you know me, man. I'm all about the trenches. So, like as that play was breaking down and the one to Herbert, my eyes went to the line. Still making some blocks out front. Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins had great seal blocks on the DJ Moore thing. Tyree Carter was out in front of that play. He had a real key block on that. And then on the one to Herbert, it was Whitehair, and I think also Carter might have been. They were out in front, leading the play, and that's what you want. I mean, the reason the Bears, they've talked about it. They want athletic offensive linemen. Part of it is because the outside zone stretch scheme they like to run. They expect those guys to get out there on their horse and make blocks. They want the edges to kind of, or the tackles to make those outside edge seal blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the screen game. We didn't see a lot of screens from the Bears last year. There's a big timing issue with those. Those take some time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
I know we always want to have that happen immediately because those are such fun plays when they're executed properly. But look at the Packers. Look at Aaron Rodgers through the years, how good they were at those screens. And this is the offense. They wanted to do a lot of screens. So maybe this year we start seeing those screens, become more prevalent because those plays, when they're executed, those are money.
Yes, of course. And obviously, like you said, we didn't see it last year because when we did, every time it was blown up. The defense sniffed it right before the Bears did it. The defense sniffed it out.
Yeah.
And obviously, with the offense, since we're still talking about offense, what did you think when we saw the game start and we saw Khalil Herbert coming out as the number one back? What type of indications does that have for his position going into the season?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been what was expected. Of course, they made some big moves there within the draft with Johnson, and of course, they also signed Deontay Foreman in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But Khalil Herbert's explosive. I mean, he showed that last year where he was the out of all running backs in the NFL, he had the highest yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
He's an explosive player. The knock on him has always been, not the best out of the backfield, not the best in blitz pickup as pass pro. He worked on it hard this offseason. He talked about a lot. What he did. He did a lot of boxing to work on his hands. Of course,
okay.
when you're doing pass pro, a lot of it is the timing of your hands. I mean, it's you have to absorb the pass rush sometimes, but you're also trying to deliver a blow to kind of stop that defender coming in you from getting in your chest. So he worked on that. If his pass pro is improved, if he's better catching out of the backfield, he probably will be the lead back this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I still expect them to rotate guys because with Foreman, Foreman had a great year last year down the stretch. He's a big, strong, powerful runner. He, again, like Herbert, he has to work on his stuff in the pass game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roschon Johnson, man, I mean, coming out of Texas, he's a do-it-all guy. So they're going to rotate all three guys. And then, of course, Travis Homer. He'll be in the mix every now and again, too. So the Bears have a stable of backs to just keep attacking defenses.
Exactly. And Roschon Johnson actually looked pretty solid yesterday. 12 carries for 44 yards, averaged 3.7 yards a carry. That looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff he got work late, obviously. So the defense thought they were going to run the ball. So, but still, he looked good running the ball. He looked good catching the ball out of the backfield. Looked comfortable. And that's kind of what we heard about him all through camp was he can kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And one thing that he does, he also brings them a pretty good pass blocker too. So
of course,
Roschon Johnson will be in the mix. Like I said, it's a stable of backs, and we haven't even talked about Justin Fields. He'll still get a few carries here and there.
Yeah.
So the rushing attack for the Bears is going to be explosive, just like it was last year.
Another question that I have for you, Lester, too. What was Velus Jones thinking on that punt return? Help me understand him because the whole time I'm like, okay, good, stay away. And then The last second, he goes up to catch the ball with the defender approaching him very, very fast. I'm like, why would you touch that?
That's a good way you phrase that question. What was he thinking? Because I think he's in his head a little bit. I think he's still confused back there. He's just not comfortable as a punt returner for whatever reason. Either he's not seeing it good off the foot. He's not reading the spin coming down. There's just something missing there. I was at camp a couple days this year, a couple weeks ago, and he looked like he was fighting himself a little bit, just like last year. And then as the day went on, he got more comfortable. So he can do it. It's in him to do it. But if he's not consistent, you can't trust him back to his punt returner, which could put his roster spot in jeopardy.
I was just going to say, because you keep having mistakes like that, I don't know if they'll be able to keep you around, buddy.
Yes, I think the key with Jones, I mean, obviously he's much better as a kick returner, but you can't keep a guy in the roster just to do that. If he can show he can play some more special teams and not just as a returner, if he can show he can cover kicks, because he's a strong dude, right? He's a physical player,
very athletic.
So if he can show he can do that, besides just his return ability, maybe he sneaks in as the fifth or sixth guy. But as it is now, I would say he's pretty much on the bubble.
Now, as we get ready to switch over to the defense, who would you say would be that dark horse player for the Bears on offense this upcoming season? Someone to just emerge and that no one expected.
That's a tough one, because the Bears are really bolstered what they have there. They did a bunch of work in the offseason, obviously, and I think there's going to be no really big surprises. I do think at some point Tyler Scott, the receiver, the rookie out of the rookie fourth round pick, he's going to come in and he may start slow, but his route running is crisp. He has great speed. His issue is his hands. He's inconsistent. He's much like Velas in that aspect. If he can work on his hands a little bit and kind of come by, he's got the kind of electric speed, run after the catch ability where they can kind of scheme him up. And he's a guy that's battling with Velus Jones for the job as a punt returner. Mm-hmm. You kind of saw him do a little bit of that last week, or in the game yesterday. So if there's one guy that I think may kind of come on late that people, I mean, like I said, they're expecting it now because he's so electric, mm-hmm. but he's going to be a late bloomer because of some of the deficiencies in his game.
Of course. Now, transitioning over to the defensive side, Lester, I got to start this one off right. Tyrique Stevenson, what the heck? Big, solid corner out of Miami. What is he, 6'1", 6'2", 225?
Yeah, he's a big physical player. I mean, he's from the U, man. So those guys all come with some swagger, and that's kind of what we heard about him during camp too. It's interesting because he kind of lost. He was running with ones. He kind of lost his gig to Terrell Smith, the other rookie, the fifth rounder out of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And Smith, was a small injury. He got dinged up, so he didn't play this game. Stevenson really took advantage of that. He played a ton, and he really showed out. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's got good athleticism. We already talked about how physical he is. Mm-hmm. He's feisty. Those are the kind of players you want to corner in the National Football League.
And I love how he was all over his defenders, not missing tackles, wrapping up as well, too. That was a key for the Bears last year as well, too, wrapping up. And for him to come in and lead by example, that was actually pretty good because he had 7 solo tackles yesterday. Every time you look up, his name was being called as he was in the mix of the play.
Yeah, he had, like I said, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He had a pass defense. He's a rookie corner, so mm-hmm. he's going to have some struggles. He's going to get burned every now and again, which is kind of what happens. I mean, that's just the position. It's a hard position to transition from college game to the NFL game. Mm-hmm. But Stevenson is, man, he seems like the real deal. And if Smith comes back and they still battle for that starting spot, that'll just make both those guys better, mm-hmm. and it just puts the Bears' defensive backs in a great position to succeed.
Of course. Now, what did you see from the defense, Lester, yesterday? How did they look to you? What were your takeaways?
Yeah, like I said, it was good. It was they got off the quarterback pretty good. They were missing a starter, obviously, in the middle linebacker, which was Tremaine Edmonds. But overall, I can't complain too much. They came out, they did what they had to do, and they got the starters in and off pretty quick. I did like the game from Noah Sewell, mm-hmm. Another rookie. Ryan Poles has some really nice rookies here. Zach Pickens, another rookie. He had a sack after having kind of an inconsistent camp. And then, of course, Jermon Dexter, he flashed every now and again. So the rookies on defense really kind of made their mark yesterday.
Of course. And what type of season do you expect from that defensive line? Because that was obviously the biggest question going into the offseason. Are they going to make a push for anyone? What are they going to do there? Are they going to wait for next year? What do you expect from them this year?
I think they're content, with Yannick Ngakoue now in the fold. I think they're content with what they have there. I think they'll still be looking just to be on the safe side in case something pops up because, Ryan Poles is always trying to tweak and make his team better.
Mm-hmm.
But, if this is the group, and if they're healthy, and of course they're also missing DeMarcus Walker, who they signed. He missed the game. He's been out a couple of days in camp with a minor injury. But overall, this D-line, this may be the most improved group from a year ago, but that goes with saying that last year's overall group was pitiful. So the group they have now, they have some guys that can rush the passer, they have some guys that can stop the run.
Yes,
and that's what that's what you want. I mean, this is the unit they had last year was a bunch of practice squad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now at least they have a professional unit that can do some things on defense for you.
And taking it one step back, what do you think about the linebacker position? Obviously, with Edwards, and Sanborn leading the charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's you mentioned Sanborn. I mean, he did start the game. I mean, that is his job. He was the starter at Sam, coming in, but he's kind of been battling through a little injury during camp. So I talked about it earlier, man. Noah Sewell, he's had a really nice camp. He was running with the ones when Sanborn was hurt. So, like I said, right now Sanborn started, but there's still a few weeks to go. I think Noah Sewell has a good chance to win that starting job.
No way,
Sam.
Stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a really nice camp. He didn't play, like I said, he didn't start,
mm-hmm.
but he came in. He looks good in pass coverage. He was strong against the run. He had a sack. So here's a guy that, a couple of years ago at Oregon, some scouts thought he would be a day 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
They thought he was going to be a second or third round guy. Oregon changed his schemes. It wasn't a great fit for him. So he had a down year in his last year in college, which is why he fell in the draft. I mean, this guy has great bloodline. Obviously, his brother plays with the Lions. He just is a good football player, and that's showing all through camp. So that's a true battle right there at the strong side linebacker spot.
Isn't his other brother a linebacker for the Saints as well, too?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's got real good bloodlines.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times those guys, they just get it. They know football. They know how to keep their body right. They understand the small things where a guy that doesn't have that kind of experience with pro sports, he understands it. He knew coming in what he had to do to be a professional football player,
mm-hmm.
and that's kind of showed.
That just makes me a little bit scared because I love the kid Sanborn, and to know that he there's a chance he may not be the starter, it doesn't sit right with me. Lester, I just hope he takes it up a notch.
Well, I mean, look, if you look at where he came from, he's an undrafted free agent a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of made his mark on special teams. He eventually got a chance to start, and he looked pretty good. I mean, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's a roster lock, and there's going to be injuries. There's going to be some issues up there. So if you have to have him come off the bench. Because he can back up at the Mike, he can back up at the Sam,
mm-hmm.
he probably can back up at the Will. He probably play all 3 of those spots. So that's a good problem to have. If you're top guy from last year now a top reserve, that's a good problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now let's take it back another layer. What do you think of the secondary, starting with the safety position? We already talked about the corners a little bit, but let's talk about the safety work first.
I'm a little worried about the depth. Behind Eddie Jackson and Daquan Brisker.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Briskers was out. He's again, another of the guys that has a minor injury. I say minor to these things because the Bears, they don't talk about injuries. They made it very clear. They're not going to discuss it unless they said it's something serious. They haven't said it's serious so far. I'm assuming it's minor. We'll see what happens here. So I'm a little concerned with the depth. Right now, they started Elijah Hicks there with Eddie Jackson. Hicks is a second-year guy. I wasn't impressed with what I saw from last year. 7th-round draft pick. You have another 7th-round draft pick from this year from Stanford, who's in the mix here. And then they got a couple undrafted guys. Maybe they're really high in these guys that are kind of on the bottom of the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
And they did flash. We saw one. I think it was Thomas with a pick. Another one had a forced fumble, Colbert, and a fumble recovery. So maybe they're high on the young depth here.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's hard to say because it's preseason. I would have liked to have seen them bring back DeAndre Houston-Carson, who is a veteran.
He was really good.
Special teamer. Yeah, he's a solid player. He's one of those pros you have, but
a leader.
yeah, they're content though with the two good starters and then a bunch of younger guys kind of fight it out for a spot.
Got it. Now, what do you think about the cornerback position? Obviously, we know Jalen Johnson. He's a lock at the number one corner. Do you think Stevenson will win it, or do you think Johnson? Who do you think?
Yeah, I think eventually it's going to be Stevenson. I mean, I like I said, when I was there at camp, Stevenson was number 2. I mean, it was the other rookie, Terrell Smith, running with the ones the whole time I was there. And this is after Smith got some safety reps too. So the Bears like Smith a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually it is going to be Stevenson. I think he just showed what he has there. Again, he's going to struggle. All rookie corners struggle. So if that happens during the year, don't say, "Oh, this guy's a bum." He's going to go through it.
Yes.
But the guy at corner, man, I'm really excited to see play as Kyler Gordon.
Oh my gosh.
He just seems to get it, man. I mean, he started getting more comfortable last year as the year went on.
Uh-huh.
Again, we talk about rookie corners. He struggled, man. He was pretty bad last year when the games were early on in the season. He got comfortable. Now he's pretty much locked into that nickel spot, which is a great fit for him because he's got good speed. He's a ridiculous athlete, So Kyler Gordon, man, he's kind of bringing the swag too. I talk about Stevenson. Kyler Gordon kind of has that same thing where he's really confident right now playing good football.
And he was laying the wood yesterday. Did you see that? Like, what's up? Has he been in the weight room, or what? Do you think he feel like he's undersized? Where did that spark come from?
I think it's just confidence, man. I think as a rookie, a lot of times these guys are in their head. They're thinking what they have to do. What is my assignment if this happens? Because a lot of stuff at corner it changes based on the looks that the offense gives. So maybe last year he just kind of was thinking too much. Mm-hmm. As the year went on, he got more comfortable. Now, like I said, he's locked in nickel. He's not really playing outside corner very much. He's still getting a few reps here and there to stay fresh, but he's pretty much knows he's the nickel. That's his spot. He understands his reads. He understands his keys better this year as a second-year pro. So I think Gordon's just in for a big year.
Of course. Now, obviously, that was just the first preseason game. What do you expect to see the next game? Do you expect to see the starters play another extra couple of series, or is it just going to be 2 series and done?
Yeah, that's my guy. I'm guessing they'll play more. I mean, that's kind of it's still kind of hard because like there used to be 4 preseason games, so everyone knew the third game was the one where they played the guys more. Mm-hmm. So now I think we're still kind of trying to feel it out to see how coaches do it. The fact that they're playing their number ones at all in the first one, it kind of is a change from years past. But yeah, I think they'll play. They may play. Up through at least the first quarter, maybe a little more. They may even go into the half with it and kind of see what happens.
Oh wow!
But I'm expecting the guys to play more, and I'm excited to see it. Plus, they have the joint practice. They have 2 practices with the Colts this week. I know the Bears are off today. Then I think they fly to Indy the next day, I believe it is. They may practice Monday and then fly out Tuesday. But we're actually going to have one of our guys, Jeff Burkus, who's going to be at those Colt training camps. So we're going to have a camp report on our YouTube channel, Second City Gridiron, also our podcast channel, to kind of get Jeff's firsthand take on what he sees there in Indy. So it should be fun.
And obviously, we still have 2 preseason games go. But what do you expect out of that opening game against the Packers September 10th?
I'm hoping it's just and it's the Packers, man. So you know how it is. We all have the pain, right, for years of the Packers just being the better team. So it's with Aaron Rodgers gone, man. Anything's happening. I'm hoping for a fun game. I'm pulling for the win. I think the Bears at home. I think they should be favored. We'll see how they come out of if they're healthy. Going into that week 1 game, I think they should win it.
And what's crazy is I've been saying that this whole time. I'm like, the Bears are probably going to take this. And then I saw Jordan Love actually looking good, looking semi good the other day. I said, okay, it looks like they have themselves a whole quarterback over there.
Yeah, Jordan Love's fine. I mean, a lot of Bears fans, they just want to talk trash and they want him to suck. But Jordan Love's fine. He had a nice college career. He had a few years now to kind of sit and learn what's going on in the NFL level. It's not the same as playing, obviously. So we'll kind of see how he is when once the game is live. But he's fine. I mean, he's going to be okay. They have a very young group of receivers and tight ends there in Green Bay. So, they don't have a lot of veterans there to kind of help him out. But I think they'll be fine. I think as Bears fans, the best thing for us is if he is fine. I mean, if he's okay, if he shows that he's decent, because then the Packers won't be in position to draft one of those stud quarterbacks coming out of the draft next year. And then to kind of be stuck with, is Jordan Love the guy? Is he not the guy? Is he good enough to win with? Who knows? If Jordan Love is the Kirk Cousins of the Packers, That's perfect. Just good enough to play it and good, not good enough to win the big game. I think that's what we want to see as Bears fans.
Lester, it's always an honor whenever we get you on this Barely Watched podcast. Any other closing thoughts as we get ready to close out this amazing episode, sir?
No, man, I'm just excited, man. Like I said, it's Bears football is back. It's practice games, but it's what we want to see. We want to see our favorite team on our TV, so it's an exciting time right now for football fans.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host with the most, Devon Booker, and once again, that was Lester Wiltfong. Thank you very much, Lester, for your time.
Anytime.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.